Welcome to the Explainer. So, today we're going to dive into one of the most ancient paths of healing you can imagine. And we're going to use a map that probably feels pretty familiar to you, the hero's journey. Yep, this is the story of the shaman.
Right, let's get into it. This idea of the hero's journey, it's not just for myths and movies, is it? It's this deep, fundamental blueprint for transformation that we all kind of recognize. And you could argue that shamans were the original heroes, the first to walk that path of trials, death, and rebirth, all to bring back something powerful for their people.
So, every hero's journey has to start somewhere, right? It's the call to adventure. But for a shaman, this call isn't some polite invitation that shows up in the mail. No way. More often than not, it explodes into their life as a massive, terrifying crisis. Yeah, you heard that right. This is not a career you apply for. It's a calling that basically kidnaps you. The initiation is often described as this completely involuntary, even violent ordeal, where spirits literally, and I mean literally, tear you apart and put you back together. It's a total, and really painful, break from everything you knew as normal life. Okay, and this is where things get really fascinating, because you have this massive clash of worldviews. For like a century, Western researchers looked at these initiations and put a label on them: schizophrenia, psychosis, epilepsy. But if you look at it from within the shamanic culture, it's something else entirely. It's a sacred calling. It's a spiritual rebirth. It's about mastering an illness so you can then become a master healer. So this shamanic illness is just a gauntlet. The person might pull away from everyone, seeking solitude, because they're being bombarded by visions, dreams, even seizures. And they talk about these terrifying experiences, hearing demons, feeling their body being ripped apart, and their old self, their ego, just completely dissolving. It's a full-on forced confrontation with death itself. So here's the key thing to get. This absolutely terrifying crisis isn't seen as the end. It's a purification. It's like you have to burn the old house down completely. The old you, with all your old habits and beliefs, has to be totally destroyed, so that a new, much more powerful identity, the healer, can be born from the ashes. All right, so our hero in the making has survived this ordeal of death and rebirth. Now what? Well, now they have to cross the threshold. They have to leave the familiar world behind and step into the great unknown. For the shaman, this means journeying to the spirit world. This is the shaman's absolute core skill. It's this super disciplined practice. Sometimes it's compared to soul projection. The whole idea is that the shaman learns to consciously enter a trance state, letting their spirit travel outside their body to explore these hidden worlds, these non-ordinary realities, to find answers or to bring back power. Now, this isn't just some random trip. It's a highly structured process, a ritual with clear steps. First, there's preparation. You gotta purify yourself. Then the shaman uses something like a steady, monotonous drum beat to shift their consciousness. Once they're in that state, they travel along what many cultures call a world tree, this cosmic highway connecting all the different realms. And finally, and this part is absolutely critical, they have to retrace their steps exactly to get back safely with whatever they went to find. But here's the thing about the hero's journey. You don't go on this crazy, dangerous adventure just for yourself. You go into the underworld to bring back a gift, an elixir, for your community. For the shaman, that gift is very often the healing of a deep spiritual wound. And the mission? Well, a lot of the time, it's about healing one of the most serious conditions imaginable from this perspective, something called soul loss. It's this idea that a piece of our very essence, our life force, can literally break off and get lost, leaving us feeling, well, incomplete. So soul loss is basically seen as a spiritual survival mechanism. When someone goes through a really overwhelming trauma, an accident, abuse, intense grief, a part of their soul just flees so it can survive the unbearable pain. And the result? The person feels disconnected from life. They might struggle with depression or addiction or feel like they're just running on empty all the time. And this right here, this is the shaman's ultimate mission: soul retrieval. They journey into that other world to find that lost piece of a person's soul. And it's a super dangerous job. They might have to bargain with spirits, or trick them, or even fight them to get that soul piece back and restore it to the person, finally making them whole again. Okay, so they've faced the darkness, they've won the prize, and now we're at the final stage of the hero's journey. It's the return. The hero comes back to the ordinary world, but they're not the same person who left. They are forever changed. Because they survived their own dismemberment, because they navigated their own dark night of the soul, shamans are uniquely equipped to guide other people through their darkness. See, they're not just following a textbook. They are a living, breathing map of the territory of suffering and healing. They know the way out because they've walked it themselves.
And this is the great paradox of the whole thing. The person who started this journey in a state of total crisis, the one who might have been seen as crazy or sick, they don't return as a broken person. They return as a pillar of their community. They become the bridge between the seen and unseen worlds, and their job is to keep everything and everyone in balance. So, all this leaves us with a pretty big thought to chew on. The shaman's path, a call that comes through crisis, a journey deep into the psyche, and a return with a gift of healing. It might all sound ancient and far away, but what if that map is still totally relevant? What if it's telling us that our own biggest challenges, our darkest moments, aren't just endings? What if they're actually the beginning of our own hero's journey?